Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's J-Man. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm J-Man.
And I am number one fan, Tim.
I'm just going to come out with it. My children got lice. Again.
That happens a lot.
I'll give you the play-by-play. They were with me all weekend. Then that Sunday night, they slept at my parents'. Monday afternoon, they got picked up there by their other grandma and brought to their mom's house because
the beast
doesn't want to talk to me on the phone because she says we always fight and we can't get anything done. Which I have told her, if you go into every conversation thinking we're going to fight and you're already on edge and you have an anxiety disorder, the second I say something you don't like, you fucking flip out. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You dunce.
I was just going to say, yeah, that's true. Not placing blame on anybody, but it is true. You guys can't do shit on the phone.
Right. Like, imagine if you were in prison and some guy's like, hey, I'm going to rape you in the shower later. You're like, oh, God, this is going to be so terrible. It's going to hurt. But then once you get to the event, he actually is really nice. He rubs your shoulders. He kisses you on the back of the neck. He's got some form of lubricant. He's very gentle. And you're like, okay, well, this was awkward, but at least I can still shit and have turds that taper.
Probably shit better.
Which is an odd comparison. So anyways, they go home to
the beast.
She calls me, the girls have lice. Now, that's how she sounded. Why? She spent all weekend at her house screaming. Maybe at her drunk boyfriend. Maybe because she has some moisture problems in her house that she's found out about. And now she's got some work to do.
I need your fucking help.
But she's like, the girls have lice. I'm like, are you sure? She's like, yes, you need to get over here. I'm like, okay, I'll be over in a little bit.
Come over there to do what?
To look through their hair for her. She thought I was going to come pick them up and take them and deal with it. Well, because it was all three of them, and she was trying to deal with the little one.
I don't give a fuck. She can deal with it. That's what being a parent is.
Well, that's not what being a parent is to her. It's asking everybody to do everything for her when things get hard.
Well, you need to wake her up to fucking reality.
Right. So I'm about to leave, and she's like, don't come over. And I called her, like, what the fuck? She's like, it's fine. I'm like, what do you mean it's fine? You were wrong? She's like, no, they have lice. I'm like, okay, so what? She's like, I don't know.
Shave their heads.
I did joke about that, but she's like, it's terrible. And then she hung up on me. And I called back. I'm like, what the fuck? She's like, just come over. All right, God. I can't handle this by myself. Boo-boo babies. I don't want his fucking drunk ass dealing with it either. She's like, boo-boo baby's got it too. It's terrible. I can't get it all still. She won't stop crying. Help me. Help me. And the phone went dead. I'm like, what the fuck is going on over there?
My response would have been, fuck you, you cunt.
Well, I don't want to lead with that.
That's what I would have led with. Like, no, I'm not helping you. They're over your house. You fucking deal with it.
That's like throwing down the 10-point dunk in the first round of the slam dunk contest. And then it's like, well, I already used my best one, so what am I going to do to make it through the rest of the rounds?
Just do it over and over and over and over again.
No, that's not how that works. Aaron Gordon didn't win it by doing that, and neither did Zach LaVine. All the other people that have won it over the years. You build yourself up to a super mega dunk at the end to make sure you're capping off the win and nobody else can beat you.
Whatever.
So I go over there. The girls come outside. I look in the Juice's hair. There's some eggs. I look in Chi-Chi's hair. There's some eggs. She comes outside, and by she, I mean
the beast.
And she's like, take him to your house and deal with him. I'm like, excuse me? I thought I was coming over to help confirm this. I had brought in the lice shampoo that I had, and my gloves, and my reading glasses for egg picking. I figured we'll just do it in her bathroom, right? I'll help, but we're doing it here. She's like, no, you're not coming inside. You fucking put him in your car and then take him. I'm like, no. Why? No. What the fuck? I'm like, I don't even know how bad it is. Why would I want him in my car? I got to contaminate my vehicle too? And she's like, ah! She goes in the house, and I just hear pounding. And then, ah!
Jesus Christ.
She's got no voice. Like, what I'm doing is more voice than she had. It sounded like an ostrich that had been repeatedly throat raped was trying to cry for help. And she comes outside and says, get the fuck out of here. I'm calling the cops. I'm like, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. I'm leaving then. She's like, no, you take him. She's like, I'm calling the fucking cops. She goes inside, She's like, call the fucking
What the
cops.
hell?
I'm like, okay, girls, I'm leaving. Sorry. And they're like, don't leave us. And I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with this cop shit. Your mom's going to keep playing the cop card on me now. She thinks that's what she can do. If the second she tells me to leave, I don't go sprinting off the premises like I'm her little lapdog. That's not how co-parenting works. No. And she comes outside. She's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm leaving.
You told me to leave or you're going to call the cops, you
She's like,
stupid fuck.
Yeah. And she goes, well, I didn't call him.
Don't fucking care at this point. I don't know how you put up with this shit.
So I go to the car, and I had some cookies that I brought to calm the girls down. I gave them the cookies. And she's trying to bargain with me to take them. I'm like, I have dealt with damn near every other outbreak of lice on my own. You were always at work. You left it to me. Don't you fucking leave this at my feet. And then she makes some comment about her boyfriend calling the cops. And I went, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm not going to deal with your pussy-ass, jobless, loser, no good, drunk son of a bitch boyfriend. I'm out of here. Bye, girls. And the girls start crying, and I feel bad. And the beast is like trying to follow me down the driveway to my car. I'm backing on the driveway, and she's like talking to the window like, where are you going? Where are you going? And I just went like this and flipped to the bird, and I left.
Bye, Felicia.
So what does she do? She then calls the cops to say that I wouldn't leave when she told me to. I go park nearby. I call the police. They're like, well, what would you like us to do? I'm like, can you send an officer to come talk to me? She's like, oh, actually, I think we got somebody going to her house. I'm like, well, then send somebody else to talk to me so they can compare notes. Because she's mentally unstable right now. I'm questioning whether or not she's on something. So I'm sitting there parked in a parking lot nearby of a business. The cop rolls up, and he's like, what's going on? I'm like, I wish I could say that this was a sexy or worthwhile usage of your time, but prepare to be really upset. I didn't say, hi, officer. Right out of the gate, I just pretty much warned him, like, this is going to fucking suck, and you're going to hate my guts for it. I explained the whole story, and I'm talking to him, and all of a sudden another squad rolls up behind me, right? Mm-hmm. I'm like, uh-oh.
Are the lights flashing?
No.
Then you're good.
And then all of a sudden, there's two more standing, and I see my rearview mirror, and I'm like, why the fuck are there so many of you guys all of a sudden? And the other dude next to me was like, oh, I'm sorry. I was just at the residence talking to your kid's mom, and I'm training right now, and the guy behind me is my training officer, and I look out, and I know the training officer from school. From school in the junior police, Boy Scout, the fucking police
perfect.
explorers. And I'm like, oh, hey, so-and-so. He's like, hey, how's it going, man? So it got fucking weird because
Small world, huh?
he knows me, and it's funny because this kid has not aged. When I say kid, when I met him, he was like 17, maybe 16. Mm-hmm. He has really not aged. He's starting to get a little gray up here in the sideburn area, like fucking Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four.
Oh, I hate him. Not aging. Fuck, I'm 40 years old. I look like I'm 50.
Yeah, and the other guy, the training kid, was obviously way younger, but looked older because he's one of those kids that could have grown a mustache in junior high probably. And I know you can totally...
Oh, a pack of cigarettes, please.
Yeah, you can
I'm
totally
18, but I
sympathize.
forgot my ID.
Well, it was a long day at the factory all day doing worky stuff. I'll have a Colt 45. So I tell the cops what's going on, and I make statements about how fucking nuts she is lately, and her boyfriend going to detox 3-4 times in the last 6 months. And I'm concerned for my kids because she's got no voice, and she's screaming at me. And I turn to the trainee kid, I'm like, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being no voice, 10 being full ability to speak, where would you rate her voice? He's like, about a 2. And I turned back to the patrol sergeant, because the one that responded to me was the shift sergeant in the area.
Okay.
And he's like, okay. I'm like, well, I just wanted to illustrate for you that I wasn't making this shit up. A lot of people, when they're involved in domestic disputes, will try to make false claims against their ex to get them in trouble. I'm like, I'm not doing that. The truth is unfortunately stranger than any fiction I can make up, and it's a 3-ring circus of dipshittery over there.
I don't know, man. You got a pretty vivid imagination, but yeah, you're usually pretty honest when it comes to situations with her because you don't have that ability to make shit up because the truth is better than the fiction.
Yeah. So I told him, look, the only reason she called you is because I left without taking the kids. She did it to try to get me in trouble. It's like, well, she said you wouldn't leave when she told you to. I'm like, first off, I showed them text messages. Like, she called me and said, come over. Then she texted and said, don't come over. Then she said, come over. Then I called and she's like, you don't need to come over. And she hung up. Then I called her back and she's like, help me, help me. I'm like, when she got to the help me, I was like, what the fuck is going on over there? So I came over, and she didn't like what I was trying to say. She wanted me to just take the girls and do it at my house. I'm like, I realize this is stupid shit for you to have to listen to, but hear me out. These kids together have had lice probably 10 to 12 times in the last 10 years. I've handled all the rest of it. It fucking sucks. If you've never picked through a little girl's thick hair for lice eggs, it would be better to have dental work done by Muhammad Ali. I was very colorful. They might have thought I was on drugs.
I don't know. That one officer that knew you from, he's like, that's the man I know.
Probably. He had no problem with it.
That ain't making shit up.
Well, it's funny because he's like, hey, are you still a correctional officer? I'm like, no, I'm a social worker now. He's like, oh, no way.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I work with like the elderly and the disabled and vulnerable adults and stuff now.
Because I'm patient.
And they're like, so what are we going to do? I'm like, well, there's nothing to do. I'm going to go home. She can sit and spin. She can figure this out. The only reason she called you is because she's pissed at me, and she does this now. She'll call and make up some bullshit excuse to have you think that I've done something wrong, and typically she does it when I tell her I'm going to call the cops. So she tries to head me off at the pass. Like, if you don't believe me, go back and read the reports from that address. There's a lot of them. So she calls her mom, and her mom brings the girls over. And I'm like, fucking great. And she hands me a bag, like 2 boxes of lice shampoo. Apparently Loverboy came over and brought some that he had purchased for Boo Boo Baby. It's like all hands on deck because she can't fucking handle this shit. And I'm shampooing after picking for about an hour through each of their heads. And I find, 1, 2 bugs on Chi-Chi. I find 3 on the juice. I'm like, fuck.
Because as anyone whose kids have had lice knows, if you find 1 or 2 bugs, there's probably 2 to 3 times that because you're not seeing them all. And then I'm taking stock of the number of eggs that I'm finding right now. And it looks like a Cobb salad. There's patches of them, not just one here, one there. They're clustered. So,
you've had this for a while probably.
Mm-hmm.
All said and done, once I was done shampooing and then looking through the water of the tub, I'm like collecting the dead ones to put them on toilet paper to count them to know how many eggs there might be. And then I brushed her hair out and some more came out. I want you to take a guess at how many actual lice bugs were on her head.
Maybe 10?
36.
What?
Wow. That's a lot.
Holy shit.
So underneath her hair, what was going on was all these bugs, 3 dozen, skittering around. So I want you to close your eyes for a second and picture tabletop electric football games. It's just like the rectangle of the field and all these players, 22 of them, buzzing around in different directions. Hopefully you get it in the end zone. But, that many people plus 14 more.
So like an entire fucking batch of eggs had hatched.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
And then we're like, who did she hang out with? We got to contact them to find out. Ironically, everybody else is clear, except for the one person I didn't ask, the next door neighbor cunt, because they were hanging out with her daughter and they gave her a hug. Goodbye. And I'm like, fuck. So they've had this for a week to a week and a half already. We didn't catch it. And fuck my life. So much work involved. I brought them home to her, dropped them off. She spends the next day 8 hours combing through the juice's hair with the lice comb, which never works for me, but somehow she got to work. I don't know. Then they come back to my house a few days later. I'm so stressed out at this point.
If I would have given into the temptation and just like stress ate the whole time to compensate for how wigged out I was, I probably would have eaten like it was a last meal for someone on death row.
And I pick through them every day. And I find a few eggs here, a few eggs there. And then on Saturday, I find 1 louse bug, a very tiny baby one on Chi-Chi. I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to treat it. Sunday morning, I find another one. And I text
The Beast.
Why are you asking me what you should do? Either shampoo them or don't. I'm like, oh, well, I thought my shampoo didn't work. She's like, yeah, because it doesn't kill the eggs. I'm like, 1, you don't know that because you're not here. Let me read the label. Oh, look, it kills both the lice bugs and the eggs. Holy shit. She's like, well, it's not working then. I'm like, no, nothing's 100%, you fucking idiot. And by the time she comes to pick them up, they're pretty much lice-free. She takes them home. She treats them. I don't know if she found anything else.
And I wish I could say that's where the fuckery ends.
It does not. This is part 1 of 2.
Okay, let's hear the rest of it.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It. That is at What Do We Call It. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm J-Man.
And I'm number one fan Tim.
And that's the end.